Hello, hello. This is Am I Old Yet? The audio drama comedy. Comedy drama. Take your pick. That follows a character by the name of Helen Doherty, an elderly woman, negotiating life in the 21st century with the help of, or in spite of, her family, friends, and random strangers. If you're enjoying the podcast, please, when you get to the end, take a moment to rate and review it in your favorite podcasting app so that we can spread the word. Share the joy. Or you can drop a comment on the reviews page on the website www.amiolyet.com reviews. And that way you can read about what other people think about it, as well as you. A community. Okay, let's get on with the episode. This is episode 4 of season 5. Not an expert.
Hey, Ellie, there you are.
Hi, Joey. Sorry, I was upstairs when I heard the call. Takes me longer to get down these days.
I hear you. Well, I'm not in a hurry. Everything takes longer these days as far as I can tell.
Yes, and time is speeding up. What's that about?
I blame quantum physics myself. The more I hear about that, the faster time goes by.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And it's got nothing at all to do with the fact that we only started to hear about it round about the time we left our so-called middle-aged lives behind and started our crone adventures.
Pure coincidence.
Absolutely.
Now, why do you think that is, my darling? You're the scientist among us.
Me? Oh, no, definitely not.
Well, no, but you're the one who has the most interest in this kind of thing. You're my tame science-y expert. Why? What is it about quantum mechanics? Is that the same thing as quantum physics?
I haven't the faintest idea. I use the terms interchangeably. I'm sure there are some experts somewhere who would be delighted to put me right about it, but I don't know any such expert.
Oh, right. Well, you just carry on and tell me, what is the level of your expertise on this topic?
Well, quantum physics stuff is all about subatomic particles whizzing around and being in two places at once, except that you can't see them in both places at once, because I think that's because we can only look at one place at a time. And apparently they move if you look, if you look at them, and then they become somewhere else. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, it would be if it were true, but I don't know that I believe you.
Oh, no, please don't believe me. I'm making this up as I go along.
Okay, right. Now, tell me, what is your opinion, Professor Doherty? What is your opinion on the subject of why it is that time passes more quickly when we get older? What is it with that? Because it's definitely accepted fact that when you're a kid, time passes very slowly. And then when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're too busy coping with being alive to notice what time is doing. So you get on with living your life. But then once you get past 50, would you agree with me, Professor Doherty?
Hang on a sec while I try and take that all on board. Oh, okay, yes. Yes, Dr. Wilkinson, I think I would agree.
Well, so there you go. There's a sample of 2. So that means it must be so if it's happened to both of us. It must be typical. Isn't that right?
Oh, I do believe it is.
So here we are in our 70s, and time, frankly, my dear, it just goes so fast. I don't think it even exists anymore. It's gone.
Oh, well, that's what the scientists say. Well, anyway, that time as such does not exist. At least some of them say that. The ones I like to believe. It's amazing how we're really only interested in people who say things that we want to believe. Were we always like this? Because it's, fake news, all this disinformation, misinformation that's taking over the world and causing so much misery. Is that really a new thing?
Well, no, I don't think it's new in and of itself, my darling. It's just that we have access to so much more with all the social media stuff. So, back in the olden days, we would listen to the news on the radio, or we would read the newspaper in the morning, and that would be it. But nowadays, it's coming at us 24/7.
Well, yes, it is if you let it, and some people do, and it's actually quite hard to avoid it.
Oh, that is true.
Thank you, oh wise one.
Absolutely.
So can we talk about something else? How are you? How's Steve?
Oh, he's okay.
Oh, that doesn't sound as good as I'd like it to.
Well, he's much better. You do know he had COVID.
Oh, yes, you mentioned in your email.
Yes, well, he's all clear now. I don't know how I didn't get it, but I did lock him in his bedroom and shove food under the door at him for about a week.
You did not.
Well, not exactly. But I wore a mask, and I made him wear a mask, and we went through bottles and bottles of hand sanitizer, and everything we touched was boiled. Yeah, well, we didn't breathe the same air for a week, so I managed to avoid it.
And so he didn't get it badly?
Oh, no, not as badly as if he hadn't been vaccinated. Well, thank goodness for that.
Indeed.
But he was sick enough for an old guy,
And how does he take to being called an old guy?
Oh, he's been calling me an old woman for I don't know how long. Okay, my love, we've done that. Let's talk about someone else. So how are you keeping? Really? Well, you don't sound too chirpy.
Chirpy? Me? Chirpy? Oh, well, no. Oh, I suppose I'm just like everybody else, being ground down by all the misery around me. It's really hard to stay upbeat. In this kind of situation, we've got wars and viruses and God knows what else threatening us, in the short term, and then in long-term climate change and the end of life on Earth as we know it.
Oh, my goodness, that is a bit drastic. You think we're as close as that?
Well, not us, not you and me. Maybe not our grandchildren, but their grandchildren, quite possibly.
Oh, I know. And what is this with energy prices in the UK? What's going on there? Why, you're going to have to pay thousands of extra pounds?
Oh, well, not me personally, darling. I'm not an average family. I'm just me on my own. So my costs are going up exponentially, but it's not as much as it would be if I was supporting 3 other people.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, it's all relative, isn't it? Okay, now, have you heard from the girls? Patty, Rosie?
Well, I haven't heard from Patty for quite a few months, but she seemed okay. The last time we spoke, I shoot her an email every now and then, and she replies back with, "Yes, I'm good, thank you for asking." I guess that's just, she's busy.
Well, that's what happens, isn't it? Especially when we move away.
Well, so how come you and I stayed in touch? You moved to Australia with the gorgeous Steve. I stayed on here in the UK.
Well, before email came along, we used to write those long letters. Do you remember letters?
No, yes.
I remember letters. We used to chatter on and on. Oh, do you remember email paper? Wasn't that fun? It was so thin that it wouldn't weigh much, and you got cheaper post, or were they air letters? What would they call those airmail letters that was just one page folded up?
Airmail letters?
Oh, I so enjoyed getting those letters on the crispy thin paper.
Oh, yeah. And then we got on to tape recording our messages and posting them to each other. Do you remember that? And Steve sent me a collection of his favourite country music songs one time. That was hilarious. Oh, dear. Slim Dusty singing The Pub with No Beer.
Oh, yeah, that was one of them. Oh,
does he still like country western music?
Oh, he certainly does. I put up with it. I make him listen to Pete Seeger every now and then. And Peggy Seeger. Oh, she's still living in the UK, isn't she?
I believe so, yes, and still recording. Still singing as well as she ever did.
Well, that's good. Glad someone's doing something as well as they ever did, yeah.
That was Not an Expert. Episode 4, Season 5 of Am I Old Yet? Written and performed by me, Floyd Kennedy. You can support the podcast with a small donation if you've got any pennies to spare via buymeacoffee.com/amioldYet, or by becoming a regular subscriber at patreon.com/amioldYet for as little as £1 a month, or as much as £5 a month. And of course, if you follow us on your podcasting app, you'll always have the weekly episodes drop down automatically as they arrive. Oh, now, by the way, if you head over to bandcamp.com, you'll find Peggy Seeger's latest CD release, First Farewell, well worth a visit. And you'll also find some of my songs there. Thanks for listening. Stay safe.